Some NBA teams are about to accept their miserable situation and blow it up. It's like when the scale reads 15 pounds heavier. Pretty sure the dryer isn't making all your clothes tight. It's time to trim the fat, and we just got a ton of new trade rumors on who wants out and which teams are gonna slim down their roster. The biggest franchise to watch is the Warriors, but let's start with the Bulls. They're out of a play-in spot right now with 3 All-Stars on their roster. Lonzo Ball ain't coming back anytime soon, and their future is hopeless. Nikola Vucevic is 32, DeMar DeRozan's 33, so their window is now. But even then, they aren't on the Bucks or the Celtics level. And to make things worse, they don't have their 2023 draft pick from the Vooch trade. It goes to the Magic unless it's in the top 4. So the only way to keep that pick and a first from the DeRozan trade is to blow it up. The good news is there's a ton of interest in their best players. Bleacher Report says the Lakers are interested in both Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan for Russell Westbrook and both first-round picks. This allows LA to get a dominant offensive player in DeMar, who's also elite in the clutch. Vooch is a good enough three-point shooter to allow Anthony Davis to continue at center. So the Bulls' 3 options really are 1, do nothing, make some minor trades and lose both of your picks. 2, run it back next year. And 3, rebuild. That report said rebuilding is precisely what many others in the NBA believe they should do. But that would also mean trading Zach LaVine. He can be moved at the deadline, but I would be shocked if all this happened. People can say a team should rebuild all they want, but this isn't NBA 2K. Real people would be making these tough decisions. That's why you see teams like the Jazz or the Magic or the Pacers just drag it on for years before rebuilding. I do not see this happening despite actual rumors. The next move I could see happening. Kyle Kuzma just dropped 35 points against the Clippers. He is having his best year ever. Dude knows his worth, and he does not see a future in DC. An NBA source told Bleacher Report he wants out. He is looking for over $20 million a season in a big market or with a contender. And the reason I believe this rumor is Kuzma is about to be a free agent. If the Wizards don't trade him, they'll lose him for nothing. The teams rumored to be interested in Kuz are the Kings, the Lakers, the Suns, and the Knicks. Now, I would cross the Kings off that list because they're not a big market or a contender. I also don't understand the Lakers' interest because they're not going to deal a first-round pick for a non-all-star. That leaves the Suns and the Knicks, and I love the Phoenix trade. The Suns get Kuz, the Wizards get Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder. This keeps the Wizards competitive, which they want to be. I know we think DC should rebuild, but they have Bradley Beal, and reports say Kristaps Porzingis is going to stay. This gets them Cam Johnson's restricted free agent rights, and Crowder is a vet for a playoff push. I do want to deep dive on the Lakers, but another team people are watching is the Raptors. One of the most respected NBA writers is Zach Lowe. Even he says things could get crazy. Rival executives are watching Toronto closely, bracing for fireworks if the Raptors are hovering around 500 in 2 months. The obvious move is to build around Scotty Barnes. He is going nowhere, but pretty much everyone else is on the table. The most likely trade chip is Gary Trent Jr. Then Fred VanVleet can be a free agent in the offseason. He isn't shooting well. OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam have years left on their deal, so their value will never be higher. The most interested teams are the Warriors, the Lakers, the Heat, the Wolves, the Pacers, Suns, Kings, and Nets. What about the Lakers getting Pascal Siakam and Otto Porter Jr., the Raptors getting Russ and both picks? It's the exact kind of trade the Lakers would actually do. LA's picks are the most valuable assets in the NBA. Masai Ujiri could look like a genius 2 years from now when the Lakers are horrible. A lot of people are speculating about Fred VanVleet, but I mean, where does he fit? I personally think a trade involving D'Angelo Russell and something else for VanVleet to the Timberwolves would be a really interesting deal. But CBS is reporting the Lakers now prefer a deal around Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, not Russ. What? I mean, yes, he has been better since he's moved to the bench. The Lakers are finally winning games. Russ is the favorite for Sixth Man of the Year. But this is insane because they have so many problems that can't be fixed with just Pat Bev and Nunn's contract. They need to bring in a big player or multiple players, which Russ's huge contract could actually get done. Players that the Lakers want are Kyrie Irving, Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal, Pascal Siakam, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Kuzma, Terry Rozier, Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, and Jay Crowder. All the highlighted players are targets for Russ's contract and both picks if their teams decide to rebuild. Now Shams is reporting the Lakers want Bojan Bogdanovic from Detroit. That makes sense because LA is the third worst three-point shooting team in the NBA. Bojan is a top 10 shooter for guys who take at least 3 trays a game. I think they would offer someone like Kendrick Nunn and a second-round pick, but it'll be tough because a dozen other teams want Bojan. Now before we get to the Warriors, we have to talk about the Hawks. I did a whole video on Trae Young's problems in the locker room. He has always had beef with John Collins, and Sham is saying 2 notable names surely on the market and on the move are Phoenix's Jay Crowder and Atlanta's John Collins. And the Hawks have to trade somebody because they're all in right now and it is not good enough. What they need the most is actually shooting. They're actually a top 10 defensive team, believe it or not, but they are worse shooting from 3 than the Lakers. A lot of that is Trae, who's having his least efficient season ever. That could get better, but I think their targets with John Collins are Jay Crowder, Lauri Markkanen, Kyle Kuzma, and Bojan Bogdanovic, although with Bojan, they'd have to get a lot more than just him back. But the most interesting team at the deadline is the Warriors. James Wiseman has struggled so much, they might actually consider a trade. The big plan was obviously pass the torch to Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody, but it's not working. Last year, the Warriors had the second best bench in the league. This year, second to last. They need depth to give their starting lineup a break. So if they actually trade James Wiseman, here's a list of all of the confirmed players that are rumored to be on the market. Bojan Bogdanovic, Kyle Kuzma, Gary Trent Jr., Kelly Oubre Jr., Terry Rozier, Gary Harris, Terrence Ross, Mo Bamba, Jakob Poeltl, Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott, Eric Gordon, Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish, and Evan Fournier. I think they could also get Miles Turner if they really want to, but supposedly he is willing to re-sign on the Pacers, which came out of nowhere. Now, considering that the Warriors, obviously they need bench scoring, but what they should prioritize is defense. I think they should target Jakob Poeltl for Wiseman and trade 2 second-round picks for Cam Reddish. The deadline is under 60 days away on February 9th. Keep a close eye on the Bulls and the Raptors, because if they keep losing, we're in for some wild trades. And what's really crazy is that the Bulls were in first place last year all the way into January. Then Lonzo Ball gets injured. So by that metric, is Lonzo Ball like an MVP? Was he that important? What I decided to do is a deep dive on what's exactly wrong with the Chicago Bulls. Check it out.